What's going on, guys? And I am noticing a trend. And if you're new to lawn care, you're probably noticing the exact same trend. Look at all your favorite lawn care YouTube channels, all their Instagram posts, and what do you notice? Dum dum dum, Real Mowers. These lawn mowers have been popping up all around the lawn care community for a few years now, and it just seems to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Every YouTube video, every Instagram post, it seems like they all have to do with Real Mowers. I too myself jumped on the Real Mowing train a few years ago, but after going through 3 different Real Mowers in 3 years, I still haven't found the perfect one for me. So in this video, I'm going to show you a new mower that I just got. I'm super excited, and I'm going to compare it to some of the past mowers that I had and see which one could possibly be a best fit for you. So if you're new to lawn care, you're probably wondering, what the heck is the big deal with Real Mowers? Why is everybody so obsessed with them? It all comes down to a few things. Number one, it's the way that it cuts the grass.
The way that it cuts is called scissor cut. Well, think about it. A scissor when it cuts through something is a clean cut between basically 2 blades. Right.
Super clean cut, and the ends of the grass blades are actually sealed up, so that can help prevent disease. Whereas if you use a rotary mower, it uses an aggressive hacking mechanism similar to a machete going like 100 miles an hour. It's just not good for the grass overall. Also, using a reel, it gives you the ability to cut the grass super low. Whereas if you were to use a rotary mower, you can't even go down to your lowest setting because otherwise you scalp your grass. Also, I know a lot of you guys out there are stripe addicts and you love to have those golf course baseball type stripes. Well, when it comes to the Real Mowers, you can actually have that because it has a full-blown roller on the back. They're super heavy, and it just lays the grass down and gives you like that professional MLB look.
This is called our Real Mower for a couple reasons. Why? It's a real mower, but it also is a real mower, and it does the most amazing job.
I'm so excited. This thing looks awesome. I can't wait to see how it cuts. Let's do it. Alright, so I figure I'd give you guys a tour around the mower. Over here, we got the Honda GX 120, which was actually a big reason that I ended up buying this Allet over, say, the Swordman. Because, you know, call me a Honda fanboy, but I have a bunch of Honda small engines and they've all been reliable. So that's why I ended up getting this. And then taking a look down here at the height adjustment, you can use this knob right here on the back to set the height of cut, which is super easy, say, compared to the Greensmaster. So I'm definitely liking that feature. And then right here, as you can see, this reel is part of a cartridge system, and this reel is actually 6 blades, which is good for cutting heights of like 3/4 of an inch or higher. But if you ever want to take your lawn down to like putting green heights, then you can always get the 10 blade system that they also offer. But for now, I just have the 6 blade. And one thing I'm going to have to start getting used to is this smooth roller right here, because I'm coming from the Greensmaster and I had a groove roller on there. The smooth roller is cool. You know, I do notice that it does tend to slip and slide a little bit more than the groove roller that I'm used to. So taking a look at the drive controls, there's a safety switch right here that you have to push down and then you lift up to engage the reel. And you could drive it manually just like that. Or over here, they also have a self-propelled system. So either way, if you want to just push the reel as it engages, or if you want to use this, you can definitely do that. So taking a look at the back, we have this solid steel drum, and it has a split rear differential, which means that you could pivot it really easily because it's split in the middle. Say compared to my Greensmaster, which was pretty tight, anytime I tried to turn it, it'd always dig up some kind of ruts in my yard, especially if the soil was wet or moist, then forget about it. But this is super easy to control, so this is an awesome feature. I like that. So taking a look at the past Real Mowers that I've had, I wanted to share a little bit of insight with you guys who are thinking about getting a Real Mower. So one of the first ones I had was the Toro Greensmaster. Awesome Real Mower, love that thing. That thing was a complete beast. The only problem is, as you guys could see, my lawn is not that big. And I'm just gonna be honest with you, it was tough to maneuver that thing around here. See, especially with reel mowing, you gotta mow your lawn every 2 to 3 days at a minimum. So busting out that 300-pound tank to come out here on this 1,200 square foot lawn, it was a lot of work. I'm a big guy and it was still tough for me to maneuver that thing around the yard. It was super heavy. Now, if I had a big lawn, you know, like Connor or some of the other guys, then the Greensmaster would definitely be my #1 choice. But it just wasn't the best fit for me. So any of you guys that might have a smaller lawn, just know that going in if you're thinking about getting a greens mower. But there were definitely a couple things about the Greensmaster that was totally awesome. #1, it was super reliable. No matter if I started it in the beginning of the season, anytime, I knew as soon as I was pulling that cord, it was gonna start up on the first pull every single time. Never had to clean the carburetor, never had to do anything like that, just had to change out the fuel filter one time. Other than that, it was super reliable. It had that Kawasaki engine, which to this date is probably my favorite small engine, the FG150. And I'll tell you, that thing was actually super easy to work on. So even if you guys aren't mechanically inclined, you could just take off the cover. The belts are exposed right there. You don't have to take off a bunch of parts. The reel, the grease fittings, everything was just super easily accessible. So with these reel mowers, you got to get them sharpened every season or at least every other season. With the Greensmaster, it wasn't hard for me to get it sharpened because I had a golf course mechanic that would sharpen it regularly for me. But for any of you guys that don't have any golf course contacts, or maybe you're struggling to find one, then I would say it might not be the most convenient thing for you and you might want to look at a cartridge system. All right, so the next mower I want to talk about is this one right here, the infamous Mclean. Now, I don't want to rag on it too much, but the biggest pitfall that I've had with this one specifically is that since I live in a cool season climate and we don't have Bermuda grass, there's nowhere that I could take this to get the reel sharpened. There's no service centers, there's no shops, there's no one that will touch this thing. Not even my own golf course mechanic will sharpen this mower for me. So ever since I've had it, I haven't been able to get it sharpened, which is kind of a shame because it's actually a pretty cool mower. So the only way that I could recommend a mower like this is #1, if you have a small lawn, because it's super easy to maneuver, it's very lightweight, you know, you can move it around with ease. And if you live down south in one of the southern states that have Bermuda grass, then odds are you'll be able to find a shop that will sharpen it for you. But other than that, if you live like me up north in Chicago, then I definitely cannot recommend a Mclean or a True Cut. So here's the thing about reel mowers. Sometimes it can be a pain to find somebody to sharpen your reel. But there are 2 companies right now that are making reel mowers where you could detach the reel off the mower and send it in for sharpening and they'll send it right back to you. So I knew I had to have one of those 2 mowers because it was always a pain to send it to my mechanic, and by the time he brought it back, you know, it just took forever. I ultimately ended up choosing Allet, but there's this other company called Swordman. They're headquartered somewhere in Eastern Europe. I think it's Ukraine or something like that. And they produce these mowers, and at first I was drawn to them because they have this super futuristic look, and I saw other YouTubers using them and it looked like the cut quality was awesome. You know, they striped the lawn really nice. But after talking to other creators in the community that have the Swordman, they made a lot of comments about the reliability and, you know, the quality control of the parts. So that's ultimately why I ended up choosing the Allet. But I still think the Swordman looks pretty damn cool. By the way, if you guys are interested to see how the Allet or the Swordman compare against each other, I got a super exciting piece of content coming out. I teamed up with a local creator here in the area who owns a Swordman, and we're gonna compare my Allet versus his Swordman. We're gonna compare the stripes, the build quality, the cut quality. So make sure you guys stay tuned if you're interested in that. But if you could do me a favor, if you found any value in this video, hit that like button. And with that, this is George from Princess Cut. Peace.